Okay, welcome. Thank you everyone for coming today to our Leviim Jewish Art Gallery exhibit. It's our first time exhibiting here in the New England area. So it's exciting for us to be here, although we have a few clients from the neighborhood, so we're not that foreign. And today we got some new clients, so I guess. Actually, the last time I was in Boston was like Game 6 of the Canucks against the Bruins, Game 6, and we lost. I drove up from New York with my friend, hoping the Canucks would win, but hey. And part of the reason why I ended up here is because when I was about 22 years old, I was looking for a roommate high and near. And after asking about 1,000 people, they all told me no. And then I found this nice young rabbi from Newton, Massachusetts, Rabbi Pruss, who finally agreed to my proposal. So forever grateful for that. And by the way, a great roommate if you're looking for one.
He's not open to roommates.
We can ask his wife.
So I've written a lot of articles published in different publications about Jewish art investing. So that I could go on and on and on and about. But since today we're in a shul, I had to find some more of a spiritual spin about Jewish art. But the way just how I got into the Jewish art, growing up, I think maybe I had one painting in my house. We're not an art family, although we're musicians. But my parents were not the art people. Unless we got art from my grandmother, my granddad. This person died, that person died, and somehow some paintings flowed into your house, like many people. But I also own a travel agency, and right across the street from my travel agency was a art gallery, and still there. They actually yelled at us last week because we outbid them on some paintings in an auction. So hopefully we'll get back together. And then I came back from a trip from Israel, and I saw a painting there that really summarized my experience. So I said, you know what, I have to buy that painting. After a while, I finally bought that painting, and thank God now we're about 1,000 paintings later. But actually, about 4 years ago, things were changing in the travel business, so I said, let me try to get into the art business a little. So I had a little garage that I saw that was available to rent, and we actually shared it with a black motorcycle club. And 4 years ago, we opened the gallery. Now we got a little fancier place. So Jewish art, Jewish history. So the first actually Jewish art exhibit that ever happened was in Paris in 1878. Art in general, before then, was usually associated with the church, and the paintings were of different people, famous people, but usually all revolved around the church. So late 1900s, the Jewish people were trying to become normal, I guess so to say. They started to getting into art. I know, like Marc Chagall, I know he had to leave Russia because they didn't accept him into the art schools because he was Jewish, and the like. Actually, Marc Chagall came from a Chabad family. His real name is Menachem Mendel Shagalov. Menachem Mendel is a very Chabad name. And then you can actually see on one of his famous paintings, the Jewish man in prayer. You'll see he's dressed in the Chabad tradition, the tallis and the way the tefillin is wrapped. So today, Jewish, in general, people, when they see an artist, they see someone who's pushing the limits, someone who's very exploring, someone who's very creative. So in general, Jewish tradition, I guess, always frowned upon or was very afraid of art in general. Because that meant the person is leaving, he's going, he's changing, he's exploring. So it was very unique that the Lubavitcher Rebbe was probably the first person to ever promote Jewish art and Jewish artists. There's a very famous artist, Michal Muchnik, who's a Chabad person, and he recently wrote that while he was in yeshiva, he asked the Rebbe, what should I do? I'm an artist. He went to RISD, what's it called? RISD, you New England people, you know that? RISD, is accomplished, great school. And he said, I guess since I'm an artist, I should become a sofer. I'll write Torahs and mezuzahs. That seems to be the natural evolution for, someone who, RISD kid who end up in yeshiva. So the Rebbe said, no, actually, I think you should become a Jewish artist. And he was shocked. And people in general were pretty surprised. So the Rebbe had that idea or vision or belief of taking whatever exists and turning it to use for a spiritual purpose. I like to tell people, sometimes you can walk into a house and you could miss the mezuzah. But a nice big Jewish painting, you'll never miss, You'll always be right in your face. Mezuzah is like 2 by 10 inches of painting, Look at these, 24 inches, 36 inches, and, with the message and idea, feeling, expression of what the artist is trying to express. Even today, in the religious Jewish world, still, in like Hasidic community, the only art you really see in their homes is maybe some florals, some scenery, the idea of Jewish people, Jewish themes, the menorah, Israel, the Western Wall, for the ultra Hasidic community, hasn't evolved and accepted that whole idea. Some people say it's a form of idol worshiping because you're creating images of people and things like that. But obviously the Rebbe's approach was very different, the idea of the messages and the feeling, the expression. And as you probably all know, growing up, the paintings you grew up in your living room and your dining room and your grandmother's house, this person's house, is part of the memory of the experience you had at home or whatever it is. And you associate the painting. Or even in a restaurant, you walk into a restaurant, certain paintings, you just know, oh, where's that painting, Funny story, there's a very famous, probably the most famous kosher restaurant today, arguably in the world. There's a place called Izzy's Smokehouse. It's in Crown Heights, and people come from around the world just to eat at this place. I met this person recently who was in Baltimore, and they flew through New York to London, and they made sure to have an 8-hour stopover so they could go to Izzy's, drive from the airport, get their brisket, and then back to the airport and on the plane. That's how crazy it is. So I was there one time, and I decided we want to have art in this place, because part of art is a lot of a marketing element to it. Besides, when you show is placing your artist's paintings in locations that people will recognize, especially highly trafficked and highly respected locations. So we placed this painting of the Rebbe by Leviticus, one of the artists here. And the guy said he doesn't want to buy it, so we'll just put it there. And after 3 months, we took it away. And about 2 weeks later, the owner called us, oh, where's that painting of the Rebbe? I think we want to buy it now. And then, thank God, we did many, many more visits after that. So I'm not sure what was my point of saying that, but the point is that people experience, in restaurants, cafes, part of their life journey is how the paintings are connected and associated. So obviously when it comes to Jewish art, in a spiritual sense, the Jewish art that you grow up with and experience, especially today's Jewish art, is a lot more positive. Back in, 50, 40 years ago, a lot of the Jewish art was Holocaust related or Shtetl related. The paintings did not reflect a vibrancy that you see today's Jewish artists. There's a lot more color and excitement and contemporary. That's what's trending and popular and doing very well. So the idea is, I was trained as a rabbi, so I guess Jewish art was a certain natural moving into, and spreading spirituality in Judaism in a very subliminal way, like Jewish art, and creating a positive feeling and energy around Judaism. So, what else do I want to say? So, that's the end of the formal speech. I'm going to quickly just talk about some of the artists that here are displayed. And after that, if you have any questions, I hopefully can answer or help you through that. So I'm going to start from all the way to the right here. The first artist here, the golden green, is an artist named Meira Eisen. She's an artist from Lakewood, New Jersey, originally from Israel. What's interesting about her is that she used to be a ghost artist for about 15 years, where galleries in Israel would pay her without writing her name, and they would just do jobs, like paint this, paint that, paint this Tillim, paint this Chumash, and they would never write her name, never give her any credit, and just pay her per hour. Then her husband, about 10 months ago, came to our gallery on a Saturday night. Our gallery opened very late at night since we're in the restaurant district in Crown Heights. And we're also workaholics, so we're always working, so it's another reason. And he presented some artwork to my partner. I was doing a show at that time in Teaneck, New Jersey. And we said, yeah, it looks good, let's do a show. And about 2 months later, we did a show for her. We did a big marketing campaign, newspapers, etc. And currently, after we did the show, there's 8 galleries, 8 months later now that carry her work.
Wow.
So
Which one is hers?
the first one right there.
First one.
Her name is Meira Eisen,
Beautiful.
and her values have, in terms of investment, I said usually I write about investment. Her price has already doubled since we started with her. The next one is a artist from Salon, Ohio, named Cynthia Kaufman Rose. Great artist. Her idea is she layers her paintings, she takes verses that inspire her, and then she paints around it and builds a whole color idea behind it. So her Hakoli episode, means everything will be okay, has become very popular. She also is very famous for, there's a very big, if you ever go to Brooklyn, there's a place called Dumbo. It's a very popular tourist spot, and they use her art there for staging. They sell big condos there. They all use her art to stage the apartments and make it look nice. The next small painting is by a guy named Mr. Vogel, a young guy. The next painting is the orange-yellow kotel, Prayer at the Wall, by an artist named, I forget her name, she's from Mexico City. Oh, Elvira Kane is her name. Really nice painting. Okay, I'm going to go to the next one. You can turn your heads if you want. Also by Meira Eisen. I think this painting got the most attention at this show. She's the artist again from Lakewood, the ghost artist. It's Jerusalem of gold, the Jerusalem scenery with the gold and the reds and burgundy colors, very cool beads. The next small painting is a Russian-Israeli artist. It's on acrylic, it's not original. Also getting a lot of attention today. Usually doing our shows at night. The next painting is a Leviticus. It's the Western Wall. He's an artist from Brooklyn. He's known he's known if you ever see the Benny Friedman music video, Ivrei Anaychi. I think it has over 5 to 10 million hits on it. The YouTube, 15 million views. The artist of that video, he has a big bust, and he's known for made that painting. So he's a Brooklyn local artist. The next painting on the floor there is Krena Haviv, an Israeli artist. I recently bought it in Montreal. I don't know anything about her, but I like her artwork. The next painting, excuse me. The next painting over is a Lakewood artist again. Lakewood is a big, booming Jewish community in New Jersey, so I guess that's why 2 out of the artists here are all from Lakewood. A younger lady originally from Baltimore, great artist, and that's the Hachnasa Sefer Torah piece. The next painting is Miriam Karp. She's a Chabad artist and writer from Cincinnati, Ohio. She went to
Sharon. She's lived in Sharon.
She lived in
She used to
Sharon.
live here.
Oh, look at that. She went to University of Michigan Art School. She does great Hasidic works, and that's a painting of a person dancing. So far, the only painting that was sold was her other painting, the Shabbos candle, was sold about an hour ago. But I would say we try to discover artists all the time and develop them. And Miriam Karp is someone who's a little lesser known, and we've tried, and I think we've been a little successful getting her out there. She does great work. She's also a writer, so you get to know her a little bit through her writings at Chabad.org, and she's very talented. And if I can say, the best artists, it's a big argument in the art world, but the best and interesting, most deepest paintings you'll find are people who paint about their own life. So sometimes there's artists who are coming and painting about Jewish life, but I don't know how religious or even Jewish they are. So when someone really paints from their own experiences, it's much deeper, more real. You could really see it in the painting. You can see the way Miriam Carr paints that the rabbi dancing. You could see it's from her own experiences as a Hasidic Chabad person. The next
She also
painting.
published a book. You can get it on Amazon.
Oh, also published a book. So she's a creative, talented person, author, creative person, clearly. The next painting is Anna Zarnitsky. She is very, very popular, a Russian-Israeli artist. That's of the Kotel. She has a brilliant sense of adding excitement and life to scenery pieces. She's very popular, and that's a embellished clay. It's not 100% original. But since that piece was so popular, we just kept on making more and having it painted over. The next two menorah pieces there are not original also. They're on acrylic. It's a more modern, sharper Crane Haviv also. I do also the same lady as the person by the wall there. The next painting is by artist M. Klein, who I don't know who they are, but the painting was inspired by other artists, so it was not an original. I think the original is Isidore Kaufman. So many artists copy other people's ideas, and they have their own twists, or they just copy it. So we bought that in a state, so I don't know anything about the artist. Moving over to the left there is the gray and gold, and if you picked up her style, it's the same artist as from Ohio, Cynthia Kaufman Rose. That's an Eishes Chayil piece where she takes parts of Eishes Chayil, she cuts it out and then paints it over and around it. Then she translates parts and selections that are meaningful to her. She translates. The next painting is an Anna Zarnitsky, the same Russian-Israeli as the purple, you call it the purple Kotel painting. The next painting is a Chabad rabbi turned artist, Yitzchak Muli, with the Andy Warhol style of Jewish art. He's very popular for that, very simple colors, with interesting ideas, bringing the modern into the realistic, so that Zippo lighter with the Shabbat candles, that whole idea. The next painting is Martha Hoffman from the Netherlands. Great artist. She has a lot of color in her paintings. We've done very well with her. We discovered her on Instagram, the new way to find people and things. And she discovered her Jewish heritage at a later age. We just, looking at the painting, I'm reminded we have to buy more from her. Her stuff really do well. She has her own interpretation of, the Jewish guy in Israel hanging out with the tzitzis popping out. Her chuppah piece that we sold many years ago is probably still one of my favorite. But anyway, moving on to the next painting is an artist named, thank you. His name is, I'm just coming off 2 weeks of some viral bronchitis, so excuse my coughing. Enville he's a artist from France, I believe, and the painting is Yafo in Tel Aviv with a naive approach, I think is the right word, I'm not sure. I don't have an art history major, so my knowledge of selling art is a little better than my art history knowledge. Moving on to the next painting. It's the Andy Warhol version of the Rebbe by a street artist from Montreal named Michal Zreli. He's done a lot of murals in Montreal as well as Crown Heights. If you come to Crown Heights, you will see some of his murals. A lot of his murals have been destroyed and damaged because people felt it wasn't appropriate to have the Rebbe on the walls. Our art gallery is a proud sponsor of his work in Crown Heights. So out of all his stuff, I think one or two have not been damaged or destroyed. So, but it's a project we're proud to support. The next painting is a Muna painting by Yoel Glick. He's a Satmar turned Chabad Chassid who lives in Kiryas Joel, Monroe, New York. He's a brilliant artist. That piece is called Emuna, Faith. And he made that painting after he came back from Uman, Rosh Hashanah in Ukraine. He said he felt very inspired of having faith, and the colors and the colors and the feeling and the faith and the colors and trying to get the words, but I'm not getting it. But that was his feeling on the painting. He does a brilliant work. That was a collection we bought about a year and a half ago. We've sold all of them besides one or two. He's a great artist, but if you ever dealt with artists, they're very creative in different moods. So depending on the mood they're in, they're making paintings, they're not making paintings, so you have to catch them on a good wave, and we get some really brilliant work. The next painting is Leviticus. It's the same artist I mentioned before who did that painting there. He's a Brooklyn-based artist. It's an oil on canvas. He actually did a painting of my late father-in-law, who was the principal in the local Boston school over 40 years ago, Rabbi Wanger. So that's my art presentation today. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask any questions. Anyone?
I love all of these. And it was so interesting to hear what you had to say. It really, gives added meaning to the work that people have done. I have noticed that when I've gone into homes that are either modern Orthodox to Chabad, that there are no images at all. Maybe just some photographs occasionally from a wedding, but other than that, no. So given that, and I know also in the shuls there wouldn't be any, so, in buying these, the value would be really the personal value, I'm assuming, for the particular family that is buying it, or the particular purchaser that's buying it, in terms of is it mostly non-Orthodox that would have these pictures?
Yeah, I would say that the ultra Hasidic people are usually not buying art, but everyone else in the Orthodox field do buy art.
Okay.
It's a minority of people, but things are changing a lot.
Okay.
Yes.
Related to that, two questions.
Yes.
What's the rough price point of these types of paintings, and from your perspective, because you're in the business, what's the value proposition of investing in things like this?
So I would say it's like stocks. Your safest bet is with the blue chip stocks, right? There's not too much volatility, but it produces, you get your Ford and your GM and your Coca-Cola stocks, and those are the ones that are usually going to be okay or go and hopefully go up.
In addition to enjoying the aesthetics.
Correct. So your ROI is every second that it's on your wall. But in terms of value proposition, you really have to buy what you like. And if you want to get into an investment grade, it's a different ball game. And looking at auction records is your best indicator of comps of what to buy and what not to buy. However,
So it's like homes.
correct. So all you have to do is go to liveauctioneers.com and just Google the artist's name. And if you see that 300 paintings sold at $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, you know the value. I always tell people, if you Google the artist's name and nothing comes up, it's worth just about that. Google today gives you a very clear indicator of values within a click of a button. It happens to be that people usually like art that everyone agrees in general in life what's pretty, right? It's not really, everyone likes this design. Everyone will tell you that this our own Kodesh here is very nice, right? I would tell you 90 to 95% of people tell you it's pretty, correct? In art, it's very similar. Usually, people lean towards what's valuable anyway, especially when it comes to the contemporary, more realistic art. So the value proposition is you'll enjoy it on your wall. If you want to get into investment grade art, it's a great value, but you have to know what you're doing. And Google's a very good reference, but you know, buying a Picasso, you usually do well, assuming that it's real.
Well, but what about the notion, as you went through all of these pictures, you mentioned the artist. Could it be that some of these people become Chagall after they're dead?
Now, a lot of artists don't.
Well, no,
So
but
let me, for example, there's someone who bought a painting from us this past Passover in a hotel in Chantilly, Virginia. I think he's on the board of Maimonides School here. He bought a painting from this lady, Meira Eisen, you know, the lady we presented. His value of her art doubled since he bought it in April. So I do believe he bought what he liked, what he thought was quality, and it happened to be the price already doubled. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So he paid $3,000, and we a week and a half ago sold a similar size painting. An art size is where you judge things a lot. We sold it for $6,000. The artist's wholesale prices now are $2,000 to $3,000. We sold that in April for $3,000. So was he lucky? Yes. The fact that he gravitated towards something that he liked and it was quality is more likely that, you know, he happens to. I went to visit his house today, or mansion, whatever you want to call it, and he also collects another artist named Charles Fazzino, who we also carry. He's a 3D pop artist, official artist for the Super Bowl and the All-Star Game, MLB. It happens to be he's not an art person, but he also collects that artist, who also does very well on the secondary market, and it's investment grade art. So the fact that he, by mistake, buys two artists that do very well in an investment perspective is interesting, but it's not strange because, you know what I'm saying? So if you collect art and you get into it, you'll probably end up with a future Picasso, but you have to be really into it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you buy enough lottery tickets, something's gonna hit, right? But in art, it's more likely to go up than a lottery ticket.
So if I could, you know, be a bit provocative.
Yes.
The real answer is a picture that you like the way it looks, that you're going to enjoy on your wall, be happy with it.
Is what?
It is what you should be after.
Correct.
Something you like the way it looks, and you like it on your wall, and if it becomes more valuable,
Great.
Otherwise, the rest is profit.
Correct. Now, but if you want to get into investment art, I would tell you, do research, see which artists are doing well on auction, and buy those. And then it's purely from investment perspective.
Yeah.
We buy purely from investment, you know. Investment to buy to sell, right?
Yeah.
So you could get into investing, buying and selling, and you could do very well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you're just starting, I would tell you just to do research, learn the business, and then start buying little by little here and there.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
You go into a gallery, not just for Jewish art, any art, you're on Cape Cod, or you're traveling somewhere. How do you, and there's a price on there, how do you know what something is not worth, maybe worth,
So
or
I
how
would
do you
say-
know what's right to pay? You like it, you're not looking at anything, but putting it on, you have a certain place on your wall in your house, it needs a picture, you like that one, but, and you just, you're drawn to it, you're not looking to sell it, then how do you?
So I would say you should make a list of how many a list of how much you're gonna pay for whatever it is. You know, if you're not gonna pay for more print, you shouldn't pay for more print for more than $1,000. The original painting, that if you Google it and there's no search results, you shouldn't pay more than, let's say, $3,000. You should really come with like you
Do
know,
some research, homework on
you should make, it's like you go to a restaurant, you know in your head you're not spending more than X amount of money for dinner. So in your head, you should make a mental note that you're not spending this amount of money, etc., etc. You shouldn't be spending more than $5,000 for an artist you never heard of, or you do research and no one else has heard of them either. You know what I'm saying? You know, but a non-original painting, you shouldn't really be paying more than $1,000 for. If it's framed nicely and this and that. But if you like it, then you know,
yeah, you'll pay more.
you decide.
So,
But there are rules, unwritten rules about it. In addition, when you go to a gallery, prices aren't set. You can make them offer. You know? So if you think if they're asking $5,000, you think it's worth $2,000, say, sir, I'm offering you $2,000. You make sure you offer them at the end of the season,
Right.
middle of September, Cape Cod. You're more likely to get a yes than a no. You ask them in July 1st,
Yeah, right,
you know.
say you don't.
I think. I don't know Cape Cod. I'm assuming.
right.
Yes.
So, you mentioned in each painting who the artist is. Say a little bit about how it works in the world of art investing around authentication. How do we know that it's really that artist?
So the way it works is on the big artists, there's foundations, family foundations, authenticators that are known in the business. They're the official authority on this and this artist. Paperwork, good paperwork, recognized galleries. In the art and all collectible worlds, there's reputation. And people know this gallery is reputable. This gallery, if you buy it on a cruise ship, not so reputable, you know? So reputation is everything in this collectible world, including art. But for the very big Picasso, you know, all the big fancy names, there's foundations, one or two, and they're the deciding people